Hi. So today on the show we have someone that I've actually known for over 15 years now. Someone I met on the cricket field as a 15-year-old trying to make his mark in Canadian under 19 circles, and he's gone on to do much bigger and better things than that, and has carved out a career in cricket. And I'm super excited to welcome Nikhil Dutta, on the show. Just to give people an idea of what Nikhil's done in his cricketing career. So, as I mentioned, he's represented Canada at the Canadian under 15s, under 19s, and the senior men's level. He's gone on to play in the big leagues in the Caribbean Premier League for St. Kitts and Nevis. He's played for the Toronto Nationals in the Global T20 tournament that happens in Toronto, and the Barissa Bulls in the Bangladesh Premier League. He is currently actually in Houston, part of the minor league circuit that's happening in the U.S. And yeah, super excited to have Nikhil on board. Obviously, we've known each other for a while, but I think his story is unique. But at the same time, it's something that a lot of cricketers and aspiring professional cricketers can learn from. So thought it would be a great person to talk to. Let's get started right into it. We're gonna ask this question to most of our guests, but what got you started in cricket?
So what got me started? So I started. So my dad, he used to play in India. So when I came here, I had a knack in cricket, and we would be playing in the hallways when I was young, like 8, 9, and then he thought it'd be a good idea to enroll me into an academy. So I joined Ontario Cricket Academy. It was really good. So Derek was a coach. So I fit in really well. I liked his coaching style, which was very good. He was very good with the youngsters. And then just from there, kept aspiring the game and kept going forward. And then kept trying to achieve new heights, try to play for Canada under 15s, then just go up the ranks. And then yeah, from there on, wanted to make a career out of cricket, and it's been pretty good so far, and hopefully it keeps getting better.
Yeah. So for those that may not know Derek, that who Nikhil referred to, that's Derek Pereira. He runs Ontario Cricket Academy. He was actually my Canada Under 19 coach. He's a legend in the Toronto
Yeah.
circles as a coach. He's built out an awesome organization. Yeah. So just to give some background on who that reference was. Yeah, I guess moving on. How has cricket impacted your life?
It's impacted in a big way. Honestly, you start off playing it. Obviously, you're always having fun. You're always looking to have fun. That's the reason we play the sport. That's something I try to keep in mind, even in like pressure situations. Is that the reason I started playing cricket was because I enjoyed it, and I enjoy being out there. And those pressure moments come within part of the game. For me, obviously balancing school and cricket was always a big thing, and then it became to work in cricket because we all usually work and play cricket. But then it was a good way just to get it both. It kept me occupied. It kept me fit. It kept me disciplined. It helped me in my work life. It really, like, people don't understand how much discipline and everything you need when it comes to working and playing cricket. So it helped me in both aspects of my careers. And then for now, still, I'm doing the same. I'm both working and playing cricket, so it's helping in both ways. And I'm hoping to grow in both careers and continue just achieving new heights.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? So, when you mention professional cricketers and then you having a job outside of cricket as well, that's something unique when you're in a pro sports environment. Where can you talk a little bit about that? Why is that the case in North America as a cricketer? How does that work? I guess.
I think it's just because we're in associate cricket. Obviously, it's very good that we are playing professional cricket over and over again. We do get paid per tournament, or even like and then we train. So it's not really a full income when it comes to, especially if you have a family, or if you're looking to, especially the way the world is growing now. So it's kind of a way
Yeah.
that you do need to be working and having the multiple incomes, which actually is good discipline when it comes to just leading your life. Like I have to be organized during my day because I usually have practice in the evening and I do work 9 to 5. So that way, and to be honest, being in Canadian cricket, most of the people are working and playing cricket. So most of the people are finding their way. A lot of them have their own businesses, which are doing really well. Some people do have 9 to 5 jobs, but people are making it work around. And hopefully, with funding and everything, we can soon get like full time contracts and be full time cricketers. I think that help
Yeah.
overall all of us cricketers going forward.
Are you able to work remote? So when you travel like this for cricket, do you kind of just work from wherever you
Correct.
are?
So yeah, before it was a mission before COVID actually. So it'd be having to
Yeah,
switching
right.
jobs. Like you're trying to get time off here and there because you usually need 3 weeks to a month off. But
Yeah,
starting COVID and the new job that I do have, I do work remotely. So that has
nice.
eased the pressure. Like everywhere I travel, I do take my work with me, and that's really helped going forward. And then is
Yeah,
keep and I do enjoy this job as well a lot. So being remote has really helped with my cricketing career.
nice.
Yeah, and that's, I think, unique challenge to cricketers in, as you mentioned, associate nations are countries that aren't full members of the International Cricket Council. So countries like well, Ireland maybe now, but Scotland, Namibia, Canada, US, who are still fighting to become a full member nations, where then the ICC provides you with enough funding to play cricket as a main
Correct.
sport throughout.
Correct.
So
Exactly.
yeah, just some color for the listeners. I guess moving forward, were you always an active athlete growing up? Did you play any other sports other than cricket, or was cricket the primary one?
Not really. Cricket was primary. Like I always enjoyed. Honestly, my days, I think you would know, Anish, it would be like school, and then I'd practice every day in the evening, either with my dad or Ontario Cricket Academy was good. There were many kids there, so I was able to go, and the center
Right.
was very close to my house, so it was like a few minutes drive at that time. So it was very good for me. Um, so and to be honest, that routine's like it stuck with me. Like now I'm what 27, 28, and I still do the same thing. Like after work I go for training. We usually have Canada practice. So it's keep me very disciplined in that way. So I do really enjoy that. And then I just picked up golf, and I picked it up during COVID, and that keeps me
Oh yeah,
occupied. It's like a stress reliever, and I've got so into it that I actually wish I brought took it up earlier and became like wish I was a professional
yeah.
golfer. That's how addicted I am to the game. Like I've even
Golf is great, but it's also stressful in its own
it
way.
is. It is. It is a very like it's the toughest sport actually to ever play. I believe that. And then I
Yeah.
guess being during COVID, because there were no like competition and golf was the only thing, so every cricketer basically picked it up just to get that competitive
Wow.
edge. Like, and then we would all compete against each other. We would take it so seriously. And now, even though like COVID's almost on its way out, we still continue during the weekdays. We still challenge each other. So it's a good way to get around everybody, and it's a good way, especially through work. A lot of my coworkers play golf just for business wise and just to gain experience. So it really helps me in that aspect as well. But apart from that, yeah,
Nice.
cricket and golf is my main thing.
Nice. So it sounds like your dad was kind of your first coach in a way.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
for sure. Yes,
yeah.
so he would come with me to all the games. He would come with me to all practices. Um, in a way, he knew my game the best, and he
Oh yeah.
knew how to basically get me going. He knew like I've always tried to be different in my cricket, and he always supported that. That's one thing. Maybe a few
Yeah.
coaches in Canada, they're very strict. They're very to the point, and I don't think that would be the way to go. It is definitely very
They
important
have
to
like
be
a very
different.
prescribed method of playing the
Correct,
game.
correct. And
Yeah.
all of us being different and all of us having our own attributes, it's good to get those attributes and use the full effect of it. You see, like in international cricket now, you never think like Rashid Khan is a bowler now, like how successful he is, how quick he bowls. Like before that, like spin wasn't like that, and he's basically changed the
Yeah.
game. Narayan's changed the game, like bowling both ways. So I think being different is very important. He always encouraged me to be different, and now I think coaches are also very much into it, knowing that these type of cricketers do help your team and do make your team great.
I think that answers my question I was going to ask, which is for you, what do you think makes someone like a really great coach?
I think somebody who is adaptable to the player. I think that's very
Yeah.
important. You have to it's just knowing what the player is good at, and I think it's about inputting like little bits of tips here just to improve their game here and there. You don't want to be making
Right.
massive changes. You don't want to be changing their own style just to copy somebody else who's maybe an international. It's about using their strengths, and then whatever weakness they have is about just addressing it and finding the best way or giving them options. I think it's very important. It's not just one cut rule like you do this, you'll be good. It doesn't work like that in anything in life. So I think it's just giving them
Yeah.
options. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. I know that from like Muay Thai kickboxing experience. They talk about the fighting when you feel your worst is almost the most important to learn to do that
Correct,
well.
correct.
Because you'll have days like that. And you've got to play okay at your
Exactly,
worst.
exactly, and it happens in cricket as well. Like you're, some days are not timing the
Yeah.
ball well. You're not, and those are the toughest days, and those are the team that requires you, and that's how you get out of the situation and end up making your team win. I think those things are very important when it comes to any sport.
Yeah. So obviously your dad was a big coaching influence, but other than that, like who has been your kind of biggest coaching influences?
So honestly, there've been in cricket, like especially in Canada, there's been many coaches. There's been tons
Okay,
of like
yeah,
honestly, like it comes to like Derek, the current national coach. He's very good. Pubudu, he's
yeah,
both of them are. Also, there was Ingleton Library. If you see like all of these coaches, like they were very adaptable to the player. They were never forcing the
nice.
player. They'd make sure that they get what they want out of the player and get the best out of you. Which is, I think, that's the main thing of coaching. Right, you want to get the best out of your players. You don't want to restrict them. You don't want to like put them in a shell. You want to make them grow and
Yeah,
help them enjoy the game. And I think that's the way you make the best team possible. Like if everybody's playing at their full potential, you're bound to do well.
nice. Um, I was wondering, do you have like a tidbit or a bit of advice you've gotten from a coach that kind of stuck with you?
Like I actually like a few like even during GT20 we had like Phil Simmons. Even in these leagues,
Yeah,
I think it was just the main thing like whatever you're trying to do in the game, we're coming from associate countries. It's to find the best way possible to perform at the big stage, and honestly, if you have something special in you, just go with it.
yeah,
I don't think you should restrict yourself. Like if you have something special, it's sometimes being different. You like it's tough, right? You want to do what everyone's doing. You want to be like it sometimes doesn't work out in games. Like say for example, a bowler who's different. Like your line and length's not gonna be the greatest, so you may go for runs like a
right.
leg spinner, for example. But I think at that point it's good to have like the coaches backing. Honestly, those times like the coaches always had the backing for me. They always said that no matter what happens in the game, we will support you, and I think that's the confidence that I got during those games, and it helped me, and I feel like yeah.
So was that the secret to making Kevin Peterson your buddy?
No, no. So that was that honestly that was it was an amazing feeling. Um, it was a lot to do honestly with the captain Marlon Samuels. He actually helped me with it because and that's like where it shows. Like I was bowling to the righties. I usually bowl the ball away. And I think he was getting a hang of it because people don't actually know that the previous ball he actually smashed it over cover for four. And then
Right.
Samuel said, "Give him off spin." And in TND, like you don't give a right-hander like incoming, and I'm like, I didn't want to
Yeah,
give it, and he's like, just give it, and it kind of helped me got the wicket because even if you look at the replay, like he was playing for the outgoing ball
yeah,
and it actually turned in. So technically, if he had
yeah.
not told me, I can guarantee myself I would have given it away again. It might have been the same result again. But that's where like the coaches and captains backing it helps so much. Like he had so much faith. He's like, just give it. Whatever happens, happens. And that's actually a very good example of how that wicket had turned out.
So that was Samuel's pro tip that helped you
Correct,
there, huh?
exactly. So it was
Drum roll.
exactly. So that is a good segue. But yeah, that wicket is his. To be honest.
For those that don't know, maybe we'll put a link in the description of Nikhil's wicket against Kevin Peterson, who at the time was one of the best batters in the world. He might have even been ranked in the top
Mhm.
five, if not up there in Test cricket, in T20s, and he was just smashing everyone. And to see Nikhil just come in. I think you were pretty young too, right? Like
Yeah, I
what,
think I was like
20,
21.
20
Yeah, it was pretty
yeah,
young. Yeah,
to come in and just and from Canada of all
exactly.
places to come
Yeah.
and knock this guy over. As a Canadian, I was pretty proud. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Chris. Keep going.
No, no, that's great. This is great. So that's awesome. I think that really explains kind of what we were going to ask about, like, what makes a successful
Right.
coach. So on the other side, what do you think makes kind of a successful student?
I think same thing as a student. You have to be is you have to take all the advice needed, and then see what works for
Yeah.
you. In general coaching, you will have many people telling you many things, and that happens especially when you're struggling. You're gonna have 20 people
Right.
coming to you
Yeah.
saying that this is not working. I think at that time it's very good to have a sound basics. Once you have like the basics well set, you can always come back from a rough patch, which we all will have multiple times in our careers. And I think as a
Yeah.
student, it's just being adaptable, listening to everyone's advice, but using what's best for them. Is
Right.
not good to, like, a lot of kids will say, I'm confused, like I don't know what to do. I think at that point it's somebody to guide them, which it could be a coach, could be a parent, could be a captain as well. And just showing belief in them. And then as a student, just knowing that what works for you and what little things that, because everybody has a good point here and there. So it's about using all those theories and all those techniques and using it to your game and seeing what works. If it doesn't work, there's no harm in trying as a student. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's great.
All right,
And
switching
I was going to
gears.
say, just to that point, I feel like that's a very, because you mentioned golf earlier, that's a bit like a golf, right? You have your golf swing, and then everybody will tell you a different way that you should be
Correct.
swinging.
Yeah. No, it's exactly like that. I honestly went for coaching as well with my brother-in-law. So like got a full swing change, and then like after a week couldn't keep up with it, and then went on
Yeah.
YouTube. And then like I guess you find your own way. What I used few tips from YouTube, few tips from what he had, and then it's still not great. So hopefully maybe I need a few more coaches and advices in golf for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're saying, Anish?
no, I was just going to say, I guess if we're switching into the conversation, coaching obviously is super important. Having the right coaches is important. That pre game day training and thinking and everything that goes along, that's key. But then you arrive on game day, and ultimately, even in a team sport, you're out there by
Correct.
yourself, right? Like you still have to do your job. So with that, I kind of wanted to ask you some questions around, the day of the competition and like what your mindset is and things along those lines. So, yeah, like how do you prepare, for a game? I guess you could talk a bit about before the
Correct.
game day, but then on the day of the game as well.
I think it's different for everyone. For me, I like to get reps in. Like I like to bowl many balls before the game. It just gets my confidence level going, and then I've seen bowlers and, well, like they don't bowl at all. They're usually good. They go to the game. I've seen batters as well. For me, it's about getting my reps in. I think I get more confidence knowing that my rhythm is in set, and then while before the game is going, and then also gets myself warmed up as well. And it's just a basic routine that I have. So it's basically like all my variations. I want to bowl them all in the nets, obviously prior to the game, and then usually before the game happens, usually I like to bowl all of them to the keeper beside the wicket. So it's about just, and then just feeling comfortable with everything that I'm doing. That way, and then I think it's all about also like just putting yourself under pressure in practice. I think that's very important. It's very, I know, tough to replicate what's in a game situation like the batters, but I think in a
Right.
way, like just putting yourself, like setting high standards for yourself, whether it's bowling, batting, or whatever you're doing, and then that way it makes the competition a little bit easier. And then like they say, the competitions, that's where the most learning happens. So even if it's like even if I have a bad game, which I think we all have more bad games than good games in any sport. It's about going back, reflecting, and it actually is more satisfying. Like you will be in that situation again, you will come out successful, and it's just like you know yourself that you learned from the previous situation, and that's how you came up. And it's about self learning. You basically taught yourself how to get past that situation, and that happens in every cricketer's life, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned you like to get your reps in. How do you know when you're not getting enough training versus your overtraining, right? Like, so you don't want to get so many reps
Correct.
in that on game day your shoulder's sore, or like, your back is stiff so you can't bat,
Correct.
or whatever it might be. Maybe you're too young for that, but as you get older, yeah, if I bat too long in the nets, my back goes, right? So
I think what when I say reps, it's like as long as like my reps, it could be like after 5 balls I feel good, or like after five, or it could be like some days I need an hour. Like
mm,
it's like differential. Like it depends how I'm feeling on the day. Depends how I'm feeling. Like weather could be an issue. Wind could be something that I want to get adjusted to. Some days like you're just feeling good. Like some days like sometimes I if I have a good game, that confidence, like I just need to bowl 4 or 5 balls. If I land it, like confidence already taken. Sometimes the previous game you struggled, and now you kind of want to get more reps in to get your confidence going. I think that's more. It's more variable to. I think that scenario, and just honestly, it's like a mental state as well. It's like the more mentally
yeah,
sound I am going to the game, that's how
right.
many reps I'll do.
And there's so many good points that you touched on there, right? You mentioned rhythm, you mentioned the confidence leading into the game, and I think part of it is the amount of practices and games you've played that obviously helps you know what your personal rhythm and mental state for peak
Correct.
performance is. And it's different for every person, right? As you mentioned, where some people might not
Correct.
want to touch the bat before they go out to bat on the day of the game,
Correct.
but they'll do all their training
Exactly.
before. So every person has to kind of find out what works for them, and what, and that kind of comes through trial and
Yes.
error, right? Was that the case for you, or did you kind of have a coach who had told you this is kind of the routine you want to follow before the
I
game?
think it's more trial and error. Like I think it takes like honestly years. You'll change it here and there going forward, but I think it's all trial and error. Like you like in the before like it depends like competition you're playing. You start off with King City where sometimes like you don't warm up as a team, and then you go to the Canadian setup where you are warming up. You are everybody is bowling
Right.
ball, so I think it comes with that, and then it's finding what works best for you. I think this is what I found is best. Honestly, I tweak it still nowadays. Like if like I feel like this thing has worked and I see somebody doing it, I'm like, you know what, I can incorporate it in my like pre-game routine. I do it. Like if there's no harm in trying something. Or if I feel like okay, I'm like overdoing it now. I'm getting older. I'm getting more tired. Like doing so many reps, maybe. So then you can cut it down. But it's about tweaking it, finding the best way, and then I think that it's just like a confidence. Like once you feel good before the game, it's just like you're ready to go.
Cool. Um, do you still get nervous before a game, or do you have any butterflies or anything along those lines?
Always, always. So every
Okay.
game, it doesn't matter what competition. It's like before TND game, King City, even like before I play like these Brampton League I've started playing, I thought I wouldn't be nervous. I get the same amount of nerves. Like especially like maybe before the first ball, always same thing. Like same amount of nerves I get everywhere. So
And are you able to kind of identify what those nerves are? Are they, for some it's like, fear of failure. For others it's like just wanting to get out there and get things started and kind of amped up because of that. Or what are your thoughts when you're feeling like nervous? If have you
that's actually a good
had a
point.
chance to kind of think
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
actually a good point. Like I think my thing is I wanna like so I'm usually not I wanna be in the game. And because I'm a spinner,
Mm.
I get in the game quite late. And because I bat middle
Hmm.
to late, I get into the game quite late. So I think that nerves is just because once I get my first over or once I play my first couple of balls, I'm pretty much okay. You're in the motion of the game. You get a feel for the game. You get a feel for like the atmosphere and everything. I think that's a big thing. Um, Fear of failure. I think when I was younger, that was always a big thing. And then I think as per experience, that's also a very good coaching tip. Like every kid has it, like we all, and it's just about overcoming it, knowing that how to handle it, and then just like trying to get the best out of yourself and trying to be positive and going into every game like as it's
Yeah.
new. But yeah, as a young, I think every youngster, even when I was young, the fear of failure always comes into play.
I heard this great quote about like that sense of like fear before the competition. someone was telling me like you can almost think about it like it's actually just excitement, but like
Yes,
kind of shifted, you know.
that,
So
that
if you can
that's a
kind of
very
like
Yeah.
good point. It's like
reshape
yeah,
it,
like it's like you're setting, like you want to do well for yourself. Like you've put the training in,
yeah,
so it's not always like failure. It's like you set a standard, you want to live up to it. You're trying your best, so I think being nervous is a good thing. Like it shows that you care about the
yeah,
game. It shows that you want to do well. It
right,
shows that you're prepared. I think if you haven't prepared, you don't really have like the fear of failure because you like in the back of your head you know you haven't prepared well. Like, but like you, especially when you put like a good standard for yourself, you set the bar high. I think the fear of failure is always a good thing to have, or like a fear of like that anxiety to get into the game or be a part of the game. I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing to embrace as well.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to do well, so you're thinking about all the things that you need
Correct.
to do,
Correct.
right? So I guess I was going to ask you, like, if you had any routines, or like whether it's listening to music or whether just taking a walk or whatever. What is it that you typically like to do when you're kind of feeling that way, or is it just what you mentioned with the getting your reps in, getting a few hits, and
I think
yeah,
like on the bus, like that's when the anxiety comes. So that's when like music comes into play. Like you'll see all the players listening to music. I think it's to get your mind off the game a bit. And then once you're at the game, I think it's just about getting my reps in. I think that's how I get comfortable with the game, and then I get my confidence up, and then that's how I get myself going in the game. And then once you're at the game, it's just about like once you're a part of the game. I think that's like once you're a part of the game and once you're playing for the team, I think those like nerves start to go away, and then you start focusing on the bigger picture.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And I know you mentioned that you touched on this point earlier as well, which was that um, in cricket and in other sports, you have more bad days than good days, right? And it's kind of how you bounce back from them
Correct.
and what you learn from them that ultimately matters. Are you able to share, your worst performance that you felt on the field, and what your, mental state was after, and how you overcame it? I have my own stories, obviously, but like, yeah, I want to hear yours.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think my debut for Canada, it was a trial tour to Trinidad. Um, at that point, like honestly, we had a camp before. I was doing really well. I was bowling really well. Like my confidence was high. It was a T20 game. It was under lights, and I remember my first over. The guy hit me for like I think 18, which at that point, like I would never even get hit for that many runs in one over. Now I think it's like a usual. You're gonna have a day like this,
Yeah.
but at that point, and then oh, I remember after the game, I was like in tears. Like I couldn't believe I'm like my first game for Canada. This is how it ended up. I was looking
Right.
forward to it. The coaches and everybody at that time, Chima was a captain. He was backing me fully. Oh, I remember I was in like tears in the hotel room, and the next game was like 2 days away. And then same thing, like I only bowled an over. I gave like I think 10 runs. I didn't bowl after that, so it was just like a struggle. And then honestly, like my hopes were gone. We ended up playing a 50 over game at the end, which I wasn't supposed to play. And then I think somebody like pulled out of like after batting, someone's like, I'm not gonna field. And because it was a practice tour, they said, okay, go ahead, you can bowl. And I ended up picking up 3 wickets in that game. And then it just shows like it's just like a twist, and then like your confidence comes back. You feel like, and I think that's it's just a struggle because you're put into a big stage. You want to do well. You want to showcase your skills to the big players, and like if your first game goes like that, I think it was just like a natural feeling. Like I felt like I wasn't ready at that point, and then I remember after the last game when I came back to Toronto, I knew I could compete there, but I knew what I had to work on to be consistent and be fully a part of it. And at that point, the coach and captain really like backed me. Went on the next tour, and then it kept getting better and better from there. But I think definitely somebody backing you at that point, and just I think the main thing is coming back and knowing what went wrong is very important, and trying to
Yeah.
correct that because it's a big jump from club cricket to international.
You met Yeah, I mean, that's so key, of having that backing from your captain and your coaches, right, and your teammates as
Yeah.
well, right? That they believe in you, they trust in you. What have you learned over your career about not riding the waves, as it were. Like when you have really great days, getting too high, or
Correct.
really bad days and getting too low. What helps you cope with that?
I think it used to happen to me, and it was I addressed it, like, and it used to set me back. Like I used to get on a very big high, I had a good spell, made runs. I'd think like I'm on top, and then I had a bad day, and then you think you're the worst player, you don't deserve to be here. I think at that
Right.
point, just being even on however the performance went, knowing that it's a game, knowing that next day is a new day, I think that's helped me a lot. And then, especially you see these international bowlers or batters, like how they go through the process. Like they know how to ride the wave perfectly. You even see basketball, like staying, like I remember Kawhi and Larry were always saying, "Oh, we want to be even keel," even though they're up in the series. I think those things, like you hear them and then you try to address it in your own game. So that's one thing I put in, like the last few years. I made sure that no matter how my performance is, I want to be even. I
Yeah.
had a good captain tell me actually recently in the minor league. There is like when you meet Hashim Amla, you when you shake his hand, you can't tell if he made double hundred or zero, and that's a personality he kept. And I think that stuck with me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's very tough to achieve that because obviously the excitement when you make a lot of runs or get a lot of wickets, it's very tough to like not show that, and it's very tough not to be sad. But I think if somebody can try to be like that, that'd be very good, and that just keeps you calm and keeps you ready for the ongoing games.
So it sounds like kind of managing your emotional highs and
Correct.
lows is really helpful for staying kind of focused.
Exactly. I think even as a team, it's very important, like, especially in tournaments. Like you can start off very well,
Yeah.
you get on a high, you suddenly think everything, and then you get one loss, and you suddenly like
Right.
lose ship. You suddenly, and the tournament's still going on, and you've kind of like lost it. So I think as a team, it's very
Yeah.
important as well.
I imagine too, everybody like feeds off of each other. So if
Correct.
everybody's
Exactly. So like,
feeling terrible, it's bringing everybody down.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And nowadays,
Yeah.
like the tournaments are long, so like, especially if you get down or if you get high too early, it can impact your tournament as a team.
Yeah. Um, that's interesting. That kind of makes me think of another question we're going to ask you about is like what's a really common mistake you see like young or aspiring cricketers making?
Uh, I wouldn't say like any mistakes. I think just trying to maybe expand their game. I think that's very important. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of people who have like very good skill at a young age, like they do something different, and then while they get older, they kind of start copying people and they start to become a little bit basic. I think it's about
Uh,
embracing the difference, the different quality and the skill that they have, and trying to like,
yeah.
for example, like Bumrah, like who would have thought like that action could. Everybody would say like, oh, you get back pain and everything, but like the speed he generates with it, the run up he has, like it's like a short run up. I think those, like as a kid, you'll see a lot of kids having different actions, different bowling styles. I think it's about keeping those and just making tweaks here and there to help like improve. But I think sometimes like we change their overall game to improve like their line and length, which makes them kind of basic at that point.
So for somebody coming into the game or a beginner, or for cricketers trying to like move up in the ranks, do you have sort of a pro tip for folks?
I think the main thing, like I tell everyone, is to enjoy. Like make sure you're having
Yeah.
fun. Make sure you don't lose a joy for the game. Make sure you always there's always going to be ups and downs. At that time, you got to realize
Yeah.
why you started playing the game. At that point, you weren't thinking about making a career out of it. You weren't thinking about making money off it. You were just thinking of having fun with your friends. I think keeping that always, and I think you always learn when you're having fun, and just keeping that joy in the game and just being open to learning. I think the quicker one can learn, I think the quicker they can grow in their game, and you'll see them reach higher standards in their game much quicker if they're willing to learn and being open to uh, being coachable.
Yeah. Awesome. So okay, we're gonna wrap up. We have a rapid fire round. So I'm gonna guess you a couple quick questions, easy ones.
Yes,
So one, who's your favorite cricketer?
I like Sunil Narayan.
Okay. Uh, if you had to give up batting or bowling, which would you
If I
choose?
had to give it up,
Give up one, batting
oh,
or
I'd give
bowling.
up bowling. I think everybody likes
Oh
batting.
yeah.
I don't think I'd want to give up batting.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite pregame song?
A favorite pregame song. I've been to the Caribbean a lot, so all these Caribbean songs, it really gets me going before the game. So I love listening to it on my
Oh, yeah.
headphones. So
Nice. Your favorite cricket equipment brand?
favorite brand. I think I should go for my sponsor here, UZ. I think I
Yeah.
should. I don't think it looked good, but he's honestly he's grown a lot. So that and
Yeah.
he actually started like just with few Canadians, and now he's gone to like worldwide. I think you'll see it in the World Cup, his equipment as well, and it's improving. So I think I think his equipment is really good.
Awesome. Okay. And your favorite drill or exercise?
Ooh. Favorite drill. I love batting and bowling. That's my. I think everybody
Okay.
knows that about me. Like if it comes to batting and
Yeah.
bowling or going to the gym, I'll pick batting and bowling.
And then the least favorite.
Least favorite. I don't like doing. I don't like running on the treadmill. I don't like running on the
Yeah.
treadmill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Awesome. Thanks, Nikhil. That was great. I think there's a lot of awesome information that you shared here today.
Perfect.
And yeah, it was great to have you. Good luck in your tournament in Houston,
Thank you.
and hope to see you in person
Yes, for
soon.
sure.
Yeah, hopefully before next summer
Yes.
on King City before I have to face you again. But yeah,
Thank you so much, Anis.
yeah,
Thank you, Chris. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
awesome.